What's up YouTube? Welcome to my channel. This is NIO Ball and I'm Brendan McCann. On this channel I'm obviously going to be very closely following NIO. Now if you have been watching the channel you'll know that I moved from England to very sunny Montevideo in Uruguay. So just for some of my friends at home I'm going to show you the view from my balcony because as I mentioned before I'm a bad friend. Now, for today's video, first of all, I'm going to cover pieces of news that have come out recently for NIO. I'm then going to go through my chart. Now, if you are new to the channel, I suggest you go back, watch my intro video and my first predictions video, because the predictions video explains the chart that I'm going to go through. And we're also going to fill in the data from obviously the share price and where my stock position is now and how close I'm getting towards my goal of $2 million in 3 years. And then at the end, we're going to do the giveaway for this amazing t-shirt. So I'm going to pick someone live, I'll contact you and send it out to you as soon as I can. And you're not going to want to miss that because who doesn't want a $3 t-shirt, right? So what's been going on? As predicted, crazy times. I mean, Tesla has crashed, NIO shot to the moon, and Apple went down like a Bangkok. My life is over. At this juncture, as always, I need to tell you, I am not a financial advisor. Anything in this video is just my personal opinion and meant for entertainment purposes only and is not to be taken as any sort of financial advice. Okay, so why is this happening? Well, I'm going to go over some news of NIO, which is part of the reason why NIO is holding on. Now, first of all, they've had their 5,000th car being produced in 1 month, which means not necessarily they're going to be delivering more than 5,000 cars this month, especially as in October there's a holiday which is Golden Week. Golden Week starts on the 1st of October through to the 7th of October and it's a celebration of the founding of the People's Republic of China. And during this time quite often families will travel the country, so if there are less than 5,000 deliveries for October, do not be surprised. I personally think that allowances would have been made due to the huge backlog that NIO has with their deliveries to get these cars out. So I still think the delivery is going to be better than last month. Another thing that's been going on that I don't think's really been put out there as much is the NIO Spaces and the accelerated rate that they are building these. Now, at the beginning of the year, I believe they had built around 55 and there was a promise that by the end of this year, 2020, there would be 200. Now, a NIO Space, for those of you that don't know, is a small area, normally less than 200 square meters. Now, because of the size of these, they can be put up anywhere, quite often in shopping malls, which is quite a different thing, I think, and I think it's a stroke of genius. And due to the small size, they only cost about 1 million RMB, which is around 150,000 US dollars. So these are reasonably inexpensive. And within this Spaces, there's literally 3 cars, a desk, and a very minimal sort of Apple store looking environment, which is amazing. Now, they've got, as of yesterday, I believe, 180 that have been built, and clearly it's working. They're selling more and more cars. Now, as it stands, by the end of this year, they're almost certainly going to have the 200 in operation as promised. This is coming from a company that was almost bankrupt this year. What's going to happen next year? The accelerated build out of this infrastructure for me is now concrete evidence that NIO is expanding at an exponential rate and everyone's heads are starting to turn. all of a sudden, huge banks are starting to upgrade NIO. I mean, as we know, in the last few weeks, Citi, JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley have upgraded NIO to as much as $40 per share by the middle of next year, which means that analysts are extremely happy with NIO's performance so far.
If you build it, he will come.
But you can't please everyone. But as a lot of people have pointed out, I mean, despite the really good news that NIO's had, obviously a lot of the reason right now for NIO's boost is the fact that in the US, as across Europe, there is potential and imminent lockdowns that are happening. Now, this along with the US election is really causing an issue for US stocks. So because of that, people are obviously moving their money, and where people see a safer place is in China. So it's not just NIO, other Chinese stocks have been soaring recently. But on this note, people just need to be careful, because as soon as this lockdown or the lockdown issues end or look like they're going to end, I'm sure a lot of money that's been pushed over into Chinese stocks will get filtered back into US stocks. There's a couple of other little nuggets of news is that NIO's working on a 150 kilowatt hour battery, which will do up to around 600 miles on a single charge. And also for me, a really big piece of news, but I don't think it's that official yet, is that NIO are building their first NIO house in Norway, which is speculated where they will be first of all selling cars in Europe. Now, when they announce this officially, it's going to be big news, because it really means NIO is pushing forward into Europe. Okay, so let's get into the predictions chart, and we're adding the data for October. Now, as full disclosure, as many of you know, after Battery Day, I pulled all of my money out of Tesla, which a lot of people thought was a stupid decision, including myself. However, when NIO dipped after the news of the stimulus and when President Trump was ill, I used that money and bought more shares of NIO. So I actually ended up getting quite a substantial rise out of that. And since then, I pulled out 1,000 shares from NIO, so I have some cash on hand, because Monday we could see a huge dip in NIO or in Tesla. And in either case, I will jump in. Now, if NIO carries on going up, I will probably jump into Tesla if it drops down. Now, I'm hoping Tesla will drop down to around $350, in which case, with the spare cash I have, I'll push it all into Tesla. Okay, so now that being said, let's take a look at the chart. So for those of you that are new, I'd just like to mention again, it's really beneficial to go back and watch my first predictions video, because it really explains each individual part separately, so you'll have an understanding of where I thought the stock would be and for what reason. Okay, so before we start, I need to make some changes to the chart. Now, if you've been watching, you'll know that one of my events that I thought would happen is an upgrade to the JAC manufacturing with NIO. Now, that was obviously announced this month by William Lee at a press conference, where he said that they would potentially be making 150,000 to 300,000 cars per year by the end of 2021. So for October, I'm going to add in a 10% rise because of the JAC announcement, which would then change my predicted price for the end of October to $25.64. As you can see, I added a 10% rise for the month of December because of NIO Day. However, this has now been rescheduled to January, which means I will take out that 10% rise. So let's fill in the data for October. So the share price as of close of market on the 30th of October 2020 was $30.57. So actually, from last month when I entered the data, this brings a rise of 60.8%. Now, using that information, I'm now going to add my total NIO position and my total portfolio position. Due to the fact that I jumped out of Tesla, then jumped into NIO when it was on a slight dip, I now have 6,500 shares of NIO, which is a total of $203,000 US. and my total portfolio has now risen to 227,000 US dollars. As you can see, things are going great right now, and maybe, just maybe, the $2 million price target that I have isn't as stupid as it sounded to begin with. But let me make it very, very clear, there's still a very bumpy road ahead for NIO, and that's just with the things we know. For instance, they're almost certainly going to dilute the shares again next year because they're going to be expanding into Europe. They're going to need money, and each time they do that, it's going to take a real big hit to the share price. Personally, I think it will not dip as much as it should because people have a lot of faith in NIO, but we don't know. So what I'm saying is I am not counting my chickens yet. But moving forward, where do we think it's going to go? What do we do? Well, personally, I'm going to stick where I am. I have 6,500 shares, as you know, of NIO. And I did have 7,500. I pulled that 1,000 out because I truly believe there's going to be some opportunity on Monday or Tuesday to either get into NIO lower, or I think Tesla's going to track lower. But again, it's a gamble, but the stock market is a gamble. And if you want to make some money, it doesn't come easy. Right, so it's time for the T-shirt giveaway for this bad boy. Now, I have an app on my phone which will choose a winner at random. Now, to win, as you know, you have to be subscribed and you have to add a comment. So I'm just going to pick it at random, and the winner is Chris N. Congratulations, mate. I will send this T-shirt out to you straight away. Good work. So we're coming towards the end of the video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed it. Now, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and add a comment below. I'd love to know, how are you dealing with this whole situation with the Roni virus and with the election coming up? It's a difficult one, right? And also, tell me what you think the sales deliveries are going to be for this month. And again, as always, these are trying times, so just be careful with your investments. And on that note, guys, be safe. And if you can't be safe, be lucky.